Guys, I can't hold it in any longer. It's time for me to be true to myself, and it's time to come out of the closet. That's right, I'm conservative. Roughly half of the country considers themselves conservative. I live in the flyover state of Oklahoma, which tends to be one of, if not the most conservative states in the country. Now, I share very similar values to most Oklahomans. I tend to be pretty conservative, and I'm a Christian. Now, in my personal life, I'm pretty open about these beliefs. But there's a reason why I haven't been quite as open about these beliefs in my counseling practice. There have been multiple studies done about the political ideologies of professionals in the psychology profession. These studies tend to show that there's around maybe 10% of psychologists or counselors, anybody in the psychology field that identifies as conservative. And honestly, the 10% might be on the high end. Other studies have shown there's been about 1 to 14 ratio of conservative to liberal clinicians. Doesn't take a math major to know that that's a pretty overwhelmingly number of liberals that are in this field. So being a conservative in this field is very, very rare, and it can be intimidating to be open about that fact. Now, in my practice, Truth and Grace Counseling, I'm open about the fact that I'm conservative. If you would like to know more information about my practice, please visit my website, truthandgracecounseling.com, which is linked below. Now, I will share with you the top 5 reasons why I've decided to be openly conservative in my practice. Reason number 1, are there even any conservatives out here? As I mentioned earlier, there are not very many conservative counselors out there. There's not many conservatives in the psychological profession at all. Now, I believe that this is for a myriad of reasons that I'm not going to get into today, but part of this is I think that many conservatives are out there that are afraid to say anything. Because we are such in the minority, let's just be quiet, get along with everybody, and be a part of the silent majority that people talk about too often. Well, I think that conservatives play defense far too often, and I think it's time that we play a little bit of offense. Now, by saying playing offense, I don't mean that I plan on being inflammatory or posting a ton of memes to own the libs or destroy them with facts and logic. Nothing like that. I'm just not ashamed about my beliefs. So if me being openly conservative in this profession garners more criticism, then so be it. That's okay. We need to be okay with a little bit of criticism and stick our necks out there. And I hope by me being openly conservative will allow others in my profession that lean right to be open about their values and not be ashamed of them. Reason number 2, take off your white, heteronormative, cisgendered, male, racist glasses, you bigot. Now, if you have no idea what I meant by that word salad of a sentence, then God bless you. You have not been inundated with critical theory type of language, and for that, you need to stay in whatever bubble that you're in. Now, I'm being a bit facetious with this kind of language. I am being over the top for all the views and smash the like button and all that fun stuff. However, in seriousness, critical theory has seeped into our culture in many, many ways. According to this worldview, I'm just about the worst. I mean, look at me. I'm white, I'm a male, Christian, cisgendered, conservative, I have a wife that's stay at home, gonna homeschool my kids. I'm just the worst. I oppress people just by my very existence. This type of mindset is not healthy or biblical at all. The things that God made me, such as being white and being a male, these are immutable facts that I can't change, and I'm not ashamed about them. You shouldn't be ashamed of these things either. Other parts of my life that have been blessings, such as the fact that I was raised in a 2-parent household, that they read to me when I was a kid, that they provided for all of my needs. These are blessings. You can call them privileges if you would like to, but I call them blessings. And I thank God for these blessings, and I'm not going to sit around and feel ashamed about having these blessings. Many liberals may not say that they agree with this kind of critical theory type of language, but it is being endorsed left and right in our culture, and I refuse to be a part of it. And I'm hopeful by me being openly conservative that I can show my clients that, look, I don't care what you look like, I don't care who you are, but you have worth just because you're a human and God made you. Reason number 3, the Fauci Ouchie. Now, I'm new to posting videos on YouTube, but I know enough that if I even mention the word vaccine, I might be banned. Now, I mentioned this story in my first blog post, which I've linked down in the description below. But in a previous job that I had, I was forced to leave due to the fact that I did not get this so-called vaccine. This experience showed me that my career can be taken from me in an instant. This is a major reason why I've decided to make my own practice. However, this goes way beyond just me. The response our society has had to this pandemic, well, it's been flawed, to put it very lightly. What we have done to the kids in our society, in my mind, is just horrible. A 2021 CDC survey found that almost 20% of high school students considered suicide. Let that sink in for a second. 1 out of 5 high school students in this country in 2021 had considered committing suicide. That number just sends shivers up my spine. And I know that there's other aspects going on, but a large reason why that number is so high is because of our response to this pandemic. I vowed to be more upfront about my thoughts on policies that have this amount of massive negative effects on the public mental health. Reason number 4, I'm getting the heck up out of here. As I mentioned earlier, much of our culture has this language of privilege and power. All these things that, like I said, I'm just literally the worst. Ask any liberal out there to look at me. I'm just the worst. I know a lot of you watching this video or that come to me at my practice, you might look like me, talk like me, have similar beliefs. A lot of you don't, and that's fine too. But think about this for a second. Let's imagine myself. I'm going to go get therapy, and then I have this therapist that comes up and says, well, you might be feeling depressed and stuff, but just imagine if you were black. That's probably not going to make me feel any better. You're just heaping more guilt on top of me. And I think one of the effects that this is having is many conservatives have seen this of others in my profession, so they just simply don't get help. They stay home, they stay depressed, they might get addicted to pornography or some other type of bad behavior, like becoming an alcoholic or something like that. Not helpful. So I don't want to see conservatives dropping out of counseling if it could be something helpful for them. So I'm hoping by me being open about my conservative beliefs that this will garner more conservatives to be open with me, to share their struggles, and that we might actually get somewhere in our therapy. Reason number 5, get your hands up off our kids. I promise I won't go off the deep end on this, although prod me enough, ask me enough, I might do a full deep dive into this issue. What we are doing to our children in this country is just utterly absurd. It's heartbreaking. As a parent, if anybody encouraged my children to be a different gender than what they are, I don't want to say what I'll do because I'll definitely get kicked off of YouTube for saying what I'm thinking. It is utterly outrageous that the counseling profession is not only not helping these kids that are legitimately transgender, that their mind legitimately is telling them that they're a different gender than what they are. Not only are we not helping them by teaching them that, no, you really are a boy, you really are a girl, and here's some coping skills, here's some ways that I'm going to help equip you to deal with this fact. No, we're not doing that. So not only are we not helping them, we're actively encouraging in many situations to mutilate themselves. And I absolutely cannot stand by with this at all. I think many counselors have a lot of blood on their hands of how they dealt with this issue. Now, don't get me wrong. This is a legitimate problem. There are legitimate transgender kids out there that, again, I think they need legitimate help. But to be quite honest, taking them to a counselor in a lot of times is not only not helpful, it's actively harmful. I am livid about what this profession is doing with this transgender ideology. This is not caring for children, and in fact is ruining the rest of their life. They may never have children. They may grow to regret this the rest of their life, and we are actively encouraging it. And to be quite honest, if you're a clinician watching this and you disagree with me on all these points, you should feel ashamed of yourself if you played any part in actively encouraging a child to chop off their genitals and change their genetic, well, and they're not going to change their genetic makeup, but change their physical makeup for the rest of your life. You should be ashamed. And I cannot believe that this profession has been doing this for so long. I hope you enjoyed this video. As I mentioned earlier, if you would like to know more about me and my practice, Truth and Grace Counseling, feel free to check out my link down below, truthandgracecounseling.com. If you live in Oklahoma or Texas and you watch this and you said, hey, this guy's kind of cool, I'd like to do counseling with him, feel free to check out that website and schedule your free consultation.